Hi, welcome back. So now we're going to talk about how to change permissions. Before we talk about that, we have to talk about how these permissions are represented internally within the Unix file system. Each permission within a group of permissions is assigned a binary representation. Now, we don't work with them in binary, but we do kind of have to know what's going on. So there are 3-bit groups for read, write, and execute. The execute takes the ones place. So the execute bit is 1, the write bit is 2, and the read bit is 4. So going from the right to the left, the first bit is for execute, the second bit is for write, and the third bit is for read. So what that means is, if we only have read, it's 4. If we only have write, it's 2. And if we only have execute, it's 1. And these are summed to give the permission for the group. So examples, RWX is 4 plus 2 plus 1, that's 7. RW dash would be 6, R dash X, read and execute is 5, and so forth. So all the individual group permissions are then strung together to give an overall permission. So if we have a permission of read and write on the owner and the group, but read only on everybody else, this would have a binary permission of 664. Read and write is 4 plus 2. So we have read write on the owner, that's the 6, the first 6. Read write on the owner's group, that's the second 6. And then read only on everybody else, that's the third 4. RWX, and then, let's see, did I get that right? That first dash there is wrong, but we'll go on anyway. If we have read, write, and execute on files owner, read and execute on everybody else, the owner's group and everybody else, this would have a binary permission of 755. Now, 664 and 755 are very typical permissions. You will see these a lot. And you'll see 755 on executable files, and you'll see 664 or maybe even 644 being used on text files that maybe the owner has access to write to or to edit, and then everybody else can read it only. That would be 644. So once you get used to using this type of permission and thinking about the binary representation or the binary assignment of the RWX, the mapping to these bits and adding the bits up, then this becomes a much more easy way to assign permissions. So how do we assign permissions? We change a permission by using the chmod utility, change mode. So an admin or the file's owner can change the permission of any file or a directory or a symbolic link using the chmod utility. And the way we use this is chmod and then the new permissions given as that binary string we just talked about, and then the file name. So we are modifying this file with this set of permissions. And that overwrites the existing permissions on the file. So permissions are given in the binary form. There is another way you can give the permissions, but frankly I find that way a little bit less intuitive than just supplying the binary form of the permission. So for an example, we have a task, we have a file named test, we already do have a file named test, and it has read-write on the owner and the group, but read-only on all users. So our task is to change the permission so that only the owner has both read and write, but all other users, including the owner's group, can read but not write to it. The way we would do this is issue a chmod, change mode, 644, and then test. So please review what the permissions mean, what that 644 would mean on this slide. And you can pause the video and take a look at it now. All right, so here we are. Let's go ahead and do that for the test file. So let's go ahead. We've listed out with all the permissions the documents directory, so we can see what permissions the test file has. So if we type chmod and then the permissions we want the test file to have, so in this case 644, and then the name of the file, test, it just comes back and says, all right, we're still in the documents directory. Now what do you want to do? If we do ls-l again, we'll see that test has now been modified. We can compare this set of permissions, read-write on owner and owner's group, read-only on everybody else, to this set of permissions, read-write on owner and read-only on the group and everybody else. So we have changed the permission mode of the file. By the way, if we want to see the content of the test file, this is only interesting at this point, but we could go ahead and gedit test again, and we'll do that real quickly. This is one way to see the file. So this would open, if I were not owner, this would open in a read-only mode, but I can see that this is a test is in the file. Another way to do this, a simpler way to do this possibly, is to type cat and then test, and this will concatenate test to standard output by default. So it just says this is a test. In other words, it writes out the file. So that's all I have for you in this demo, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much.